Donald and Melania Trump tend to be private about their marriage, but sometimes they let loose and go full PDA. From a campaign rally embrace to a baseball game smooch, these are the rare occasions where the Trumps couldn't keep their hands off each other. 2016 was a year of huge change, not just for America, but for the Trump family. However, before Donald Trump secured his victory in the presidential election, he had to campaign, so he attended every rally he could in the lead-up to the big night. The first hurdle was becoming a presidential nominee. On July 18th, the Trumps attended the first day of the Republican National Convention in Cleveland. When Donald took the stage, he was joined by his wife, Melania. During her speech, Melania highlighted her husband's kindness, saying,
"This kindness is not always noted, but it is there for all to see."
There are several photos of the couple lightly canoodling on the stage, either hugging or leaning in for a kiss. There was one moment where Melania put her hand up to the crowd as she planted a smooch on her husband's cheek. Donald made a face as she did so, seemingly welcoming this public show of affection from his wife. That said, body language expert Patty Wood told Us Weekly that the couple's PDA moments at the 2016 RNC felt fairly stiff. After looking at one of their embraces, Wood stated, "That was not even a real hug. There was no real warmth." Regardless, Melania seemed happy to be there to support her husband.
We have a very pretty much equal relationship,
Yes.
wouldn't you say?
While attending a New York Mets game in 2009, Donald couldn't keep his hands off his wife. Just a few years into their marriage, these lovebirds regularly attended public events together and seemed to enjoy one another's company. Donald said as much on a 2011 episode of The Oprah Winfrey Show. He told the host, "I really think that we have a very good friendship. We've had a very good relationship and a really great friendship. What's more, they seem to be a strong team who respected one another." As Melania told Oprah, "To be married to my husband, you need to be very smart, quick. You need to be very independent in a way."
Donald is a husband who supports me in all that I do.
Even before she was the First Lady, Melania was a source of intrigue for the press. In a piece about the couple in New York Magazine's Intelligencer, the outlet noted, "We've always sort of thought that Melania and Donald Trump looked like one another. They both do this Sports Illustrated swimsuit model pose for pictures, where they squint their eyes and open their mouths a little bit." In 2018, Donald Trump's tenure as president had reached the halfway mark, and there'd long been whispers about whether or not Melania liked being First Lady. As an unnamed source claimed to Vanity Fair in 2017, this isn't something she wanted, and it isn't something he ever thought he'd win. What's more, there'd been chatter about whether or not Melania was happy in her marriage. As ex-White House aide Omarosa Manigault Newman claimed in her book Unhinged, Melania seemed desperate to get out. She wrote, "In my opinion, Melania is counting every minute until he is out of office so she can divorce him." Whether that sentiment was true remains unclear, as neither Melania nor Donald reacted to the rumors at the time. Instead, they continued to appear in public as they usually would, including at a state arrival ceremony on the South Lawn at the White House when they welcomed French President Emmanuel Macron. At one point, Donald placed his hands on his wife's arms and brought her in for a kiss as she tilted her white hat upward. Even so, the brim of the hat still seemed to get in the way, and Donald pivoted to doling out some quick air smooches instead. In 2004, Melania and Donald were photographed happily embracing as they left Trump Tower in New York. Melania even landed a kiss on Donald's cheek as he smiled into the distance, seemingly playing up to the cameras. Even back then, the couple knew how to work their angles and give the media what they wanted. Though some may argue their body language is a little stiff and performative, Melania is often pictured smiling in this era and looking at ease. There have been plenty of dramatic Trump family moments over the years, but every now and then they offer glimpses into what their dynamic might be like behind the scenes. In 2016, Donald pulled Melania in for a kiss during a campaign rally at Wilmington International Airport in North Carolina multiple times. Wearing a white version of his signature Make America Great Again hat, Donald appeared to be in the mood to show a little affection. When Melania introduced Donald, he embraced her and the two shared a kiss. As his supporters cheered him on, Donald hugged Melania before they kissed once again. As the cheers continued, the two smiled at each other before Donald planted another smooch on Melania's cheek. The two also held hands as they walked side by side at the event. The same year, Melania gushed about her husband during her speech at the Republican National Convention. She told the crowd,
"I have been with Donald for 18 years, and I have been aware of his love for this country since we first met."
No matter the outcome, Donald could rest assured that his wife and the rest of his family had his back throughout his political career. If Melania ever felt differently at the time, she didn't show it. After her husband became president, Melania's lavish life looked a little different. Sure, she still resided in luxurious properties and wore designer clothes, but she also took on a number of important and official events. One such event was a 2018 event hosted in the East Room in honor of the wives and mothers of military personnel. During the event, the Trumps stayed by one another's side. At one point, Donald wrapped his arms around Melania's torso, pulling her in for a little kiss as they smiled at each other. It's not often that the pair kiss each other on the lips in public, instead choosing to exchange a polite peck on the cheek. Melania happened to be the host of the event, telling the attendees, "As a mother myself, I know what goes into raising a child. It takes an incredible amount of strength, a lot of time, a generous amount of patience, and all of your love." When Melania turned the podium over to her husband, he began by singing her praises. He told the audience,
She's become a very, very popular First Lady. I'm reading that.
When Donald first announced he was running for president back in 2015, his victory didn't necessarily seem like a sure thing. However, in November 2016, he was elected the 45th President of the United States, and 2 months later, the start of his term was honored at the Liberty Inaugural Ball. Melania Trump looked every inch the First Lady in a cream gown, which managed to tread the line between stunning and chic. The garment was eventually handed over to the National Museum of American History for the First Lady's exhibit. Judging by the photos from the evening, Donald approved of his wife's look. Though it's hard to say for certain, the couple sure seemed to ramp up the public displays of affection at this event. Throughout the night, they embraced, danced, held hands, and kissed. While these interactions certainly seemed adoring on the surface, body language expert Patty Wood had a different take. Wood told Mike that their interactions read as icy, specifically calling out how rigid Melania's fingers looked while she danced with her husband. No matter how you view it, being president isn't an easy job. For better or worse, Donald saw out his term in the White House amid much turmoil. Through it all, Melania was there. In 2020, toward the end of their stay in the White House, the couple hosted the Republican National Convention at the property's historic Rose Garden. The summer event was one of the last the couple would throw, and they didn't miss the opportunity to put on a united front. At one point during the RNC, Donald pulled Melania toward him and gave her a quick kiss. As one of the day's speakers, Melania praised her husband and expressed her desire to see him run the country for another term. She told the crowd, "He has built an administration with an unprecedented number of women in leadership roles and has fostered an environment where the American people are always the priority. He welcomes different points of view and encourages thinking outside of the box." The year proved to be a tumultuous one for the Trumps, who both tested positive for COVID-19 at the height of the pandemic. Donald famously came under fire for suggesting a possible treatment for the virus could be injecting disinfectant. And to top it all off, he lost the election in November of that year to Joe Biden.
We were getting ready to win this election. Frankly, we did win this election.
There are many possible reasons why Melania and Donald Trump stay together, but could it be as simple as love? Admittedly, a lot of their PDA moments captured on camera don't always look relaxed and natural, and it's rare to see them kissing on the lips. But it does happen. In 2019, the couple hosted another celebration for military mothers in the East Room of the White House. Melania wore a figure-hugging white dress with embellishments, while Donald opted for a standard navy suit with a blue and red tie. At one point, Donald was photographed placing his hands on his wife's upper arms to go in for a kiss on the lips. While it might read as a tender moment to some, others not so much. As body language expert Patty Wood told Insider, there's a distinct difference between that grip, the tension, the placement, the indent on somebody's arm, and a hold, embrace, to enjoy somebody being close to you. As they made their way through the White House, the Trumps were also photographed holding hands tightly. And when Melania spoke before the room of military mothers, Donald offered her a gentle pat on the back as she thanked the attendees for their service. After Melania was done with her address, Donald took the podium and thanked her, saying,
And Melania, you did a beautiful job in organizing this incredible celebration of America's military mothers.
The The entire Trump family was out in force for Donald's inauguration on January 20th, 2017, as all of Donald's children accompanied the newly elected president and First Lady to Washington, D.C. to celebrate. Melania wore an impressive sky blue Ralph Lauren dress with matching gloves for the occasion. The couple beamed throughout the day and were often pictured holding hands or embracing. Sounds sweet, right? Alas, their interactions didn't read that way to everyone. As body language expert Susan Constantine told Mike, "If you didn't know that they were married, you wouldn't know that they are married. I don't see any warmth or true love and compassion in that relationship whatsoever." Whatever the case, the Trumps made an effort to present as a unified front throughout Donald's campaign and his time in office. At the Liberty Inauguration Ball, Donald expressed his gratitude to Melania before they danced to Frank Sinatra's My Way. He told the crowd,
I want to thank all of our supporters. My number one supporter, Melania, what she puts up with. Oh.